says there is God, what is the game he's playing? The game is just this. You believe something, you disbelieve something. It need not have anything to do with reality, isn't it? If we work hard enough on you right from your childhood, we can make you believe just about anything. Yes or no? Hello? If we work hard enough on you right from your childhood, we can make you believe anything. Just travel around the world and see what are all the different kinds of weird things that people believe. Unbelievable. All kinds of things people believe. This happened. I was speaking to a group of people in Nashville, in Tennessee, in the United States. I was just telling them a joke. In the joke, I referred to God as Him. Immediately a few ladies stood up and they said, "Do you believe God is a man?" Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know what I've gotten into. I was only telling you a joke. I said, it doesn't matter. You said Him. Do you believe God is a man? Now in the United States, particularly in the southern states, there is a big debate. Is God a man or a woman? They are trying to settle this in this election. So this went on. You heard of the Uganda man, Idi Amin? You heard of Idi Amin? Idi Amin declared, God is black. I agree with him. If a white man can have a white God, why can't a black man have a black God? Isn't it? But these people do not know. Because God never went to that part of the world. God sent His messengers, His Son and other people. So they've never seen, so they're just doing guesswork. In India we know God is brown. Because in India God Himself landed 9 times. You know this? You know this? You don't know? You missed it, huh? God Himself landed 9 times. 9 avatars, you heard? 9 times God Himself came. Indians are very proud about this. Especially Indians who live outside India, they're very proud about this. So I keep reminding them, that is because God wouldn't trust Indians with anybody else. He wants to do the job hands-on with Indians. So He came 9 times and He failed. 9 or 10 times we can debate, we can't debate failure, isn't it? So 9 times He Himself came and He failed. We can go on with this. What I'm saying is, what we believe is of cultural relevance to us, not of existential relevance. Existentially, what is there, what is not there. So Gautama is doing this to move you from belief to seeking. Belief means you assume something that you do not know, isn't it? Yes or no? Okay, let me test you like this. Shall we do a simple experiment? Is it okay? How many of you believe you have 2 hands? All such people just raise 1 hand, please. What's the matter with the rest? Okay. Do you believe you have 2 hands? Or do you know you have 2 hands? You know. If somebody argues with you and proves to you you have no 2 hands, if their argument becomes too overwhelming, 1 slap in the face and he will know you got hands. Yes or no? So with hands you know, With God you believe. Why? So, the problem is just this, we have still not become sincere enough to admit what we do not know as we do not know. This is the big problem with us. Is it all right? What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. Is it okay? Whatever I do not know, I believe. How do you arrive at these beliefs? How do you arrive at these beliefs? It happens in so many ways. Essentially, you take an assumption. You make an assumption and gather 25 people around you and say, this is it, this is it, this is it. If that number goes to 25,000, you made it in the world. This happened. A boy, an 8-year-old boy in New York City came back from school in the afternoon. He had a very progressive mother. Being so progressive, obviously she was single. And he came back home one day and asked a question to his mother, Mama, is God man or a woman? She's a very progressive woman, so she thought about all the gender politics attached to this. And after much thought, she said both. So the boy went into deep thought. After thinking for a while, he came back and asked, Mama, is God black or white? Again she thought about all the racial politics in the country that is going on. After much thought, she said both. So he went into very deep thought. Then he came back and asked, Mama, is God straight or gay? She thought about all the politics related to that issue and she said both. Then the boy jumped in joy, I got it, it's Michael Jackson. So everybody can make their own deductions and believe it. I'm asking you, is it all right? Is it all right? What I do not know, I say I do not know. Is it all right? So human of you, so wonderful of you to see, this is what I know, this is what I do not know, isn't it? If you see I do not know, the longing to know, the seeking to know, and the possibility of knowing becomes a reality. Whatever you do not know, if you just believe, you will just believe. You can believe whatever. It gives you confidence. Belief gives you confidence without clarity. Confidence without clarity is the greatest human disaster that's happened. What is needed is clarity. Gautama, the Buddha, spent his entire life talking about clarity, methods to bring clarity into people's lives. But now we believe in him. No, he did not ask belief, he asked for seeking. Yes? In pursuit of truth, in pursuit of the ultimate nature of who we are, not in assumptions. Because it is said, I believe. No. I want to know, genuinely, experientially I want to know. And what I do not know, I am willing to admit I do not know, not assume. If you concretize your assumptions, it becomes a belief system. So being a Buddha means being above the mechanisms of your mind. If you're above the mechanisms of your mind, which operates from gathered information, then you have a different vision, you have a different intelligence. That is, you do not operate from existing data in your head. Right now, your mind is operating only from the existing data, isn't it? You gathered something, from that it's working. In this, nothing new can happen. Being a Buddha means you're above the data. You're above the data means you're seeing life just the way it is, not the way it's happened to you till now. If you see everything the way it is, you can conduct life sensibly. Yes or no? Especially if you want to be a leader, it's very, very important you see life just the way it is, not the way you think it is. Because in your own life you've seen, when you were 10 years of age, you thought, this is it. When you became 15, you looked back and thought, oh my God, that was so stupid. That is not it. Now I know, this is it. When you became 18, you turn back and see, oh, at 15 I was so stupid. That's not it. Now I know it for sure. Like this it is going on, isn't it? I want you to look at this. One of the most important aspects of life, the fundamental fact of life is we are mortal in nature. Yes? You know the story for sure about what inspired Gautama to drop what he was doing or his kingdom and his wife and his child and go in the pursuit of truth is he saw the mortal nature of the human being. He saw a dead body. He saw a sick person, an old person, which are all showing us that we are mortal, we have an expiry date. Yes? Hello? No? We have an expiry date. He was living comfortably. When he realized one day there is going to be an expiry date, then he thought, what is the point of all this? Let me find out what is the nature of life. From this it all started. And this is the most fundamental thing. All of us should be conscious that we have an expiry date. If you are conscious that you are mortal, you will have no time to do anything stupid in your life. Yes? You will not do anything that does not matter to you. You will do only those things which truly matter to you in your life. If you are conscious, you have a limited amount of time, isn't it? In the life of this planet, you and me are just a pop-up, 2-second pop-up. You've seen on your computer screen, advertisements pop up and disappear because they're paid only for 2 seconds. You are just a pop-up on this planet. You pop up and you pop out. Whether you like it or you don't like it. This is how it is, isn't it so? So if you understand you are a very brief amount of time, you will do only what truly matters to you, isn't it? If every one of us is doing only what truly matters to all of us, this is a fantastic world to live in. Right now, too many people are doing things that doesn't mean a damn thing even to themselves. Yes or no? World is a mess simply because too many people are doing too many things which doesn't mean anything to them. If we are doing only what really matters, we would be different kind of people altogether. This will come to you only if you remind yourself every moment of your life that this is a limited amount of time. Now, as I came up on stage, since then, you are 40 minutes closer to your grave. Yes, you are. I'll teach you some yoga, we can extend it a little bit. We can postpone it, but we can't avoid it. Yes? We can postpone it. I'll bless you with a long life. You can postpone it, but you cannot avoid it. If you are truly exploring the potential, the immensity of what it means to be human, if you live for 100 years, it will seem to be very brief life. If you are living a miserable life, it will feel like a long life. Have you noticed this? On a particular day you're very happy. One day passed off like a moment. Another day you're miserable. One day feels like 10,000 years. Yes or no? So only miserable people have a long life. If you're a joyful person, it's a very brief life. Before you know what's happening, it'll be gone. Yes, it is. So what shall I bless you with? Long life or a intense, blissful life? Who cares how long? Yes? A very intense, blissful, fulfilling life. Who cares how long? Because the quality of life is not determined by how long, isn't it? But if you realize the immensity of being human, even if we are given 1,000 years, it's too brief. It's not enough. For what intelligence and awareness that a human being has hidden within themselves, if we explore this, 1,000 years will be too little a time. But you are not given 1,000 years anyway. Even 100 years, if you live, you will see, you feel like you just started at the end. That's how it will feel. Only if you're living a futile, useless life, it feels like it's too long and when will it end? No, you may not be thinking, others are. People around you will be. The problem is just this. Right now, not just what's happening in the world, even what's happening within you is not in your hands. That's why all this mess. This happened. A lady went to sleep. In her sleep, she had a dream. In her dream, she saw a hunk of a man standing there and staring at her. And he started coming closer and closer and closer. He came so close, she could even feel his breath. And she trembled, not in fear. Then she asked, "What will you do to me?" The man said, "Well, lady, it's your dream." What's happening in your head is your dream, isn't it? Now the problem is not that life is not happening the way you want it, even your dream is not happening the way you want it. If your dream happened the way you want it, at least you could sit here blissful, isn't it? If your thought and emotion happen the way you want it, sitting here joyfully wouldn't be a problem, isn't it? Creating something in the world is another job. This is the problem of a leader. He wants to create something. Now you have to get the cooperation of 1,000,000 people to do what you want them to do, or what you think is the right thing to do. This will need more skills, but at least staying joyful within you is most important, not because joy is a goal by itself, because there is substantial scientific and medical evidence today to show that only when you're in a pleasant state of experience, you are able to use your body and your brain to its fullest. This you know by experience, but today there is scientific evidence. Is it true? Only when you're really joyful and peaceful, your brain and your body functions at its best. When you're stressed, anxious, fearful, this does not function well. This is a known fact. But today they've put it all in scientific data that this is what happens within you. There is evidence to show that if you manage 24 hours, most human beings cannot say this for themselves, if you spend 24 hours without a moment of anxiety, agitation, anger, irritation, nothing, just blissfully, 24 hours, the sharpness of your intellect can go up 100% in 24 hours' time. Why don't you try it in the next 24 hours? It's time to try it, isn't it? But for most human beings, 24 hours have not gone the way they want. See, if one day did not happen the way you want, it's understandable. Not even one day happened the way you want. Now there is something fundamentally wrong, isn't it? Somewhere we have not understood the fundamentals of how to do this. Do you agree with me? This human mechanism is the most sophisticated and complicated machine on the planet. Do you agree with me? I'm asking you, have you read the user's manual? No. So you're operating it by accident. When you operate something accidentally, anxiety is natural, isn't it? Yes or no? If you do something accidentally, being anxious is a natural consequence of that. Only when you know how to operate something, you can joyfully operate that, not otherwise. So, this entire process, I don't know what it's become today, but this entire movement of yoga, of the Buddha's way of doing things, all this started wanting to handle this one consciously. Not trying to fix the heaven, trying to fix this one. Yes? So that we can conduct this the way we want. If we conduct this the way we want, we would be joyful by our own nature. And if I meet you when you're very happy, I'm sure you're a wonderful person. But if I meet you when you're unhappy, frustrated, miserable, you could be a nasty person. Yes or no? This is true with everyone, isn't it? See, 20% of our time, resource and energy are spent in the prisons in South India and a little bit in the United States. People keep asking me, Sadhguru, we rarely get to see you, but you are spending so much time with these criminals. I don't see any criminals. Yes, if you look at their history sheets, what they have done terrible things. Probably if you let them out tomorrow, maybe 50% of them will do the same things once again. Yes, because I know them very well. They become very friendly with me and they say everything to me. I know many of them will do the same things. But when they are with me, I keep them very happy. And when they are happy, they are wonderful. Now, keeping them happy is the problem. Because the man whom you call a criminal also wants the same things that you want, isn't it? Yes or no? He also wants the same thing. He also is in pursuit of his happiness. Only thing is, he is pursuing it far more vigorously than you. In pursuit of your happiness, you are willing to stand in a line. He cannot stand in the line. He is far more vigorous in pursuit of happiness. So this is what I'm saying. The moment you're in pursuit of your happiness, you're anyway a criminal. Yes. Because this life is not about pursuing happiness. This life is about expressing your happiness in the world. Because happiness never rained upon you from anywhere. Whether joy happened or misery happened. Whether peace happened or turmoil happened. Whether pain happened, pleasure happened, agony happened, ecstasy happened. It only happened within you, isn't it? Hello? Do you see me at least? Hello? Even if you're not listening to me. Do you see me? Please everybody. If you see me, use one hand and point out where I am. Point out please. Where am I? Oh, you got it wrong. You know I am a mystic from South India. Now this light is falling upon me, reflecting, going through your lenses, inverted image in the retina. Where do you see me right now? Within yourself? Where do you hear me right now? Within yourself? Where did you see the entire world? Within yourself? Did anything ever happen outside of you to you? Everything that ever happened only happened within you, isn't it? You saw the earth and the sky only within you, isn't it? The way it is projected within you, you have not seen anything else. Right now, someone next to you, if they touched your hand like this, you think you're experiencing their hand. No. You're only experiencing the sensations in your hand. You cannot experience their hand. Yes or no? You cannot experience their hand. You are only experiencing the sensations in your hand. Now, even without the assistance of their hand, if your imagination is good enough, you can create the sensations in your hand without the help of the other hand. I'm sure you're doing it. So, your entire experience of life is happening within you. At least what happens from within you must happen the way you want it. isn't it? The world will not happen your way. And I'm glad. Because if the entire world happened your way, where do I go? The world is like this, little bit your way, little bit my way, little bit somebody else's way, it's all right. But this one must happen my way, isn't it? Yes? And nobody in your life, not your husband, not your wife, not your parents, not your children, not your friends, nobody will happen 100% the way you want them. Yes? Or are still you such a hopeless romantic, you still waiting that somebody will come who will be 100% the way you want them. You must listen to me and believe me on this one thing. See, I have lived long enough. I am telling you, nobody will happen 100% your way. However promising they may look in the beginning. They will not happen 100% your way. 51% your way means you are winning. More than that you expect, it's not going to work, okay? But it doesn't matter, nobody happens your way. But this one person must happen your way, isn't it? If this person happened your way, I'm 100% sure you will keep this person joyful, blissful, wonderful, in the highest possible level of pleasantness that you can. Yes or no? If you're living in the highest possible level of blissfulness, you will not think of going to heaven, isn't it? Yes? Those who have made a hell out of themselves, they all want to go to heaven. People come to me. You know, we are a volunteer organization. Millions of volunteers. Every day somebody is coming up to me and saying, Sadhguru, I can't work with this person, she is so horrible, she can't do this, he can't do that. And I tell them, see, in this world, this is how people are. Like this, like this, like this, like this. This is how they are. If you want to work with ideal people, you must go to heaven today. You know what's the qualification, go to heaven? See, this is one thing that's happening in the world. Human intellect is firing like never before. More human beings are able to think for themselves than ever before in the history of humanity. Do you agree with me? For a long time, people could not think for themselves. They thought through their leader, they thought through their guru, they thought through their scripture, they thought through their something else. Today, people are beginning to think for themselves. Once people start thinking for themselves, he doesn't like thinking for themselves. Once people start thinking for themselves, they will ask logical questions. When they ask questions like this, heavens will collapse. For example, you okay? Can I joke with you? In Hindu heaven, the food is very good. If you like good food, you must go to Hindu heaven. Yes. Because here Nala, he's the best chef in the universe, not in the world, in the universe. He himself will cook for you. So if you are a foodie, you must go to Hindu heaven. If you go to another heaven, you will see those white gowned ladies will float around in the clouds. If you like that kind of ambience, you can go there. Or if you go to another heaven, you will encounter virgin problems. If you like that, you can go there. But what is the qualification to go to heaven? This happened in a Sunday school in Alabama. A very enthusiastic Sunday school teacher, where the children had gathered in the church and he was going full steam. He asked, what do you have to do to go to heaven? Little Mary stood up and said, if I scrub the church floor every Sunday, I will go to heaven. I said, absolutely. Another little girl stood up and said, if I share 50% of my pocket money with my less privileged friend, I will go to heaven. Correct. Another boy said, if I help all those people who are in need, I will go to heaven. Absolutely. Little Tommy in the last bench stood up and said, you gotta die first. That is the basic qualification. You got to die first. When you die, we will either bury your body or burn your body or feed it to the birds depending on the culture in which you are. One thing is clear, you put your body back into the earth because this is a loan that you took from the planet, isn't it? If you don't want to put it back, you are a willful defaulter. You take a loan and you don't want to pay back. This is not good. You must be ready to pay back when the term is over, joyfully, isn't it? So one thing is clear, you leave your body here. Once you don't have a body, what do you do with good food and virgins and all this stuff? Hello? When you don't have a body, where will you put the food? So, if you ask 3 questions, all heavens will collapse. If you don't make it collapse, your children, the next generation, will shoot the heavens down with their simple logic. You have any doubt about this? Your children will kill it. It's better you do it. But if you don't do it, the next generation will do it. So when the heavens collapse, heavens may collapse, but human longing to experience something more will not go. Human beings will always long to experience something more. Whoever you are right now, you want to be something more, isn't it? If that something more happens, you want something more. And how much ever more happens, you want something more because there is something within you which wants to expand, which wants to touch another dimension all the time. So once the heavens collapse, but the longing for something more is there, you will see, I estimate in the next 60 to 70 years' time, 90% of humanity will be seeking chemical solutions. Already the percentage is going up dramatically in the last 25 years. The number of people consuming prescription medicines, alcohol and drugs to keep themselves reasonably peaceful or happy has increased phenomenally, isn't it? I was in London just a few weeks ago. It's a prominent group of people. I asked them, what do you think is the percentage in London that people, at least they have to drink a glass of wine, otherwise they can't sleep peacefully. Other people are doing stronger things. I'm using a glass of wine as the minimum level. They're saying 99%. Other countries, other cities are not far behind. Everybody's going that way. Now I am not looking at this as a moral issue, but if 90% of human population is on chemicals for creating peaceful experiences, joyful experiences within themselves, one thing that will happen is we will become incapable of making the next generation better than us. This is a fundamental responsibility that we have, that when we leave this world, the generation that we leave behind is at least one step better than who we are, isn't it? If we don't do this, we have failed in our fundamental responsibility. So whatever yoga, whatever Buddha taught, all these things are just about that it's about conscious evolution of the human being. When you were a monkey, I'm sorry, I didn't say this. Charles Darwin, you know. When you were a monkey, you did not aspire to become human. Nature just pushed you on. But once you become a human, if you want to evolve, you must consciously evolve. If you don't consciously evolve, you will stagnate and wonder why you exist. This is natural for human intelligence. If you are not evolving on a daily basis, you will always wonder, what is the purpose of my existence? And people will come up with false purposes. I'm going to heaven, I'm going to eat good food, I'm going to meet virgins, I'm going to meet this. All stupid stuff will come up. Good food, nonsense, everything is for this world, to do it here, isn't it? Yes or no? This need not be raised to heaven. These are simple requirements that even an animal wants to eat good food, even an animal wants to copulate and reproduce. This is not a big thing. This can only be a part of your life. This can never be the whole of your life, isn't it? Yes or no? All the survival aspects of our life in a human being are like this. See, if you came here as some other creature, apart from being human, stomach full, life settled. But once you come as a human being, stomach empty, only one problem. Stomach full, 100 problems. Yes or no? Because what you call as human doesn't end with survival. For all other creatures, if their survival is taken care of, their life is finished. But for a human being, life begins only after survival is taken care of. When survival is in question, it looks like a big thing. Once it's taken care of, doesn't mean anything, isn't it? Because the dimension that we refer to as human becomes alive in you only after survival is taken care of. If you're fighting for survival right now, you are just like any other biological creature, isn't it? There's no difference. But survival is taken care of. Now we look at life, now there are so many other possibilities. So the purpose of organizing a society is to see that survival happens reasonably easy. But now the modern societies have set themselves into this. It doesn't matter what you give them, they're still in the survival mode. Yes? They're still, it doesn't matter. We have more things than any generation ever had. Is that so? In terms of material comfort, we are the most comfortable generation ever on this planet. Do you agree with me? But in spite of that, we are the loudest whining generation. We are whining and complaining like never before. So, it doesn't matter what comes, we have gotten into this mode of being in survival mode all the time. That is not the purpose of organizing survival. The purpose of organizing survival is so that human beings can aspire for something larger, something bigger, another dimension of existence. I'm glad at least in this country, some orientation towards this is kept. The rest of the world is going crazy about raising the bar of survival to such a place, it's impossible. You know, 2 meals a day was survival. Somebody says that's not it, at least you must have a car. Now car is not it, you must have a Mercedes. Now Mercedes is not it, you must have a Bentley. It's going on endlessly. The Living Earth Statistics, which has an authority on this kind of material subjects, is saying that if we have to provide materially to all the citizens of the world, over 7 billion people, what an average American citizen has, we need 4.5 planets. But we have only half a planet left. What I'm saying is, our survival has been raised to a place where it's impossible. The only way you can run this kind of life is to keep half the population in slavery. That's the only way you can run it. Yes? If each person must have more than they can use, the only way to do it is we must keep the rest of the world in slavery. If we aspire well-being for everybody, we have to aspire in a sensible way. Our idea of success, our idea of comfort, our idea of well-being has to be restructured. But this can be done only if people are joyful. You can talk to them, because joyful people are flexible people. Frustrated people, miserable people are not flexible people. They are rigid. You can't say a thing to them. So the first and foremost responsibility is this, that you are a pleasant piece of life. If you sit here, you are a pleasant piece of life. You are peaceful and joyful by your own nature. If you are given a choice, either to work with joyful people, to work and live with joyful people or miserable people, what is your choice? Joyful people. You want joyful people around you. I want you to please, please, please remember, everybody else is expecting the same thing. Everybody else want the same thing? Can you offer this to everybody around you, I'm asking? You may not be a genius, it doesn't matter. Can you at least be a joyful human being, a pleasant human being? Yes? At least this much you must do for yourself and people around you. Other things are subject to many things. Whether you will become the richest man in the world or not, whether you will climb Mount Everest or not, whether you will run faster than Mr. Bolt or not, whether you will become the